believing that this $100 million dream is even possible.
I want to know how you secured $150,000 in grant.
Figure it out, right? Like YouTube it.
Have you ever felt as a founder that you wanted more out of your money, more profit, pay yourself more, know when to make more investments, know when to hire more team, or perhaps you're not in that season and you want to know where you need to pull back to hit your goals? Well, today I have Megan from Dream Money, and you are not going to want to miss this because it is the easiest way as a founder, as a small business owner, to manage your money for optimization. And you're going to want to know how she secured her own $150,000 grant to build the thing that you're going to want. All right. Hello, Revenue Rascals. We are back again, and we're going to talk about money, lots of money today. And I am so excited to have my friend Megan Hale with us today from Dream Money, because this is the problem. And if you are a founder, an operator, or really know anything about business, you know how hard it is to manage your money and to make it work for you. Cash flow, funding, grants, paying people, all the things. It is probably, in my opinion, one of the hardest things is in business to get right. So I love what you've created, and I'm so excited to share it with all of my listeners. So welcome to the show, Megan.
Thanks so much, Michelle. I'm so stoked for our conversation.
Oh, this is going to be so fun. Okay, so before we jump in to the nitty gritty, and everybody, you're going to want to listen to the whole episode because we have something really special at the end that she's offering, but you got to stick around to know what it is. So, Megan, talk to me about you. I want to know about who is Megan and how did Megan create Dream Money?
Well, this is a long story, but I'm going to try and get it into little bite-sized pieces for you. So I think the shortest version is I am a non-money person who became a money person. And what I mean by that is I started my professional career as a psychotherapist, really helping women in particular, really build healthy relationships that they were in, whether that was with their family or with their partners. And I happened to be married to an active duty military member at the time. And so when I opened my private practice, I realized that I was going to have to close it like 18 months later. And so that was around the time. And I was like, I love helping people, but I can't start a private practice every 3 years because that's a lot. And so that was when I started realizing that I wanted to do something different beyond just therapy. And so that's when I found the world of coaching and I went into the online business space. And that was 11 years ago, and I really haven't looked back since. I started off as a life coach. That was the easiest transition from therapy to coaching. And then that business struggled a lot for 3 years. And that was when I realized that I needed to do something different. That's when I created the Dream Money framework, and it radically shifted my life. It helped me double my revenue, working half the time during one of the most personally challenging years. And I started teaching it to other people and started becoming this money person. And now I have a software company that is all around money, but I never in a million years could have seen that coming if you would have told me that back then.
Oh my gosh, I am also not a money first person. Now, when it comes to making money, I'm great at that. Like, you give me anything and I will sell it. I will sell it hard. It will be amazing. And so I've always had these conversations with my husband, with my CPA, with my investment banker, all of it. I'm like, I'll generate it. I will generate it till the cows come home. But what I need to learn and to get better at is the management and the utilization of all of this money that I'm taking. And I think that nothing really teaches you that lesson harder than entrepreneurship.
Totally.
So It's just one of those side benefits, if you want to call it. So I love this conversation. And it also makes it easier for people to listen to this, knowing that you don't have to know all of the things to be good at this. So let's first jump into what is this framework before you became a SaaS company? What is the framework that changed your life coaching business? Because that's a tough business. And so I'm really curious to hear about this framework. So let's jump in.
So I think, and I love that you're in sales. I love that everyone who's listening to this is all about sales, because I think the biggest misconception that we have is that when we have a money problem in our business, we just need to sell more and that's going to fix it. And that's where I was before I created Dream Money. Is I was thinking I just need to sell more and more and more, and that's going to fix all of the issues that I have, but I was selling more. And I still found myself in these cash flow crunches, money running out, not knowing if I could afford to pay bills like months on end. And I said, there's got to be more to the situation. And I think in late 2017, when I was getting ready to go into this really challenging year, I was about to become a mom to 2 under 2, and my husband was deploying for 6 months, just 3 weeks after we had our second one. And I was looking at all of these variables of like, there's got to be more than just more money. And that's the first time I opened a spreadsheet and got really clear on one, how much money do I truly need? So anchored numbers, not guessing numbers. 2, how am I going to make this money that's actually sustainable for me to deliver on? Because there's 9 million ways to make the money you want to make. Not all of them are sustainable. And those 2 questions really were the foundation for selling out one offer that generated a whole year of sustainable cash flow. And that was a life-changing decision. And so Dream Money really starts with first knowing your numbers, not guesstimated numbers, but how much do you truly need to be making that stabilize your business? Because financial stability is so important when it comes to our nervous system. But then having a sustainable revenue plan with sales goals you can actually hit and price points that actually keep you profitable, that's really step 2. And then as you're making your money, how are you managing it on the back end to make sure that it's going where you want it to go and it's truly supporting you? And so that's really Dream Money's framework all the way 360 around.
I love that so much. I think it's if you're listening right now and you have started a business and you're not just an operator, one thing that I want to pull out right now is when you create a business, especially service-based businesses, you really have to design the fulfillment around something that you can sustain. And specifically speaking to the online coaching, consulting, business world, there's 400 models that you could take on. And I think it's really hard for people to decide which one is best for them. And knowing what the consequences or the benefits will be of that. I've had lots of iterations in my own business. Like when I first launched my business, it was all group coaching programs. Group coaching. I would launch, sell, coach, launch, sell, coach. That was how I made my first $500,000 was doing that. And then I realized that I was getting kind of burned out on like that launch cycle. And I realized like, oh, wow, like that doesn't feel so good for me anymore. So what does feel good? And for me, it was working very intimately with a few very high-end clients at a time. So I pivoted to the fractional chief revenue officer model. There were some growing pains there, but once I productized, it became really in flow for me. So Megan, talk to us a little bit about how not just your framework, but your software helps business owners make those type of decisions.
Yeah. I mean, I think first of all, I think that we all have what I call a capacity quotient. And that's basically the maximum number of hours you have as a business owner to actually deliver inside your business. And most of us are overcommitting without even realizing it. And that's really, well, one, you're going to reach a revenue cap really quick with that, or you're going to reach burnout. And so really understanding what capacity looks like for you, which is challenging because it shifts from season to season. My capacity when I had 2 under 2 and my husband was deployed was very different than it is now with, an 8 and almost 10-year-old with my husband home a lot more. So I think knowing the capacity that you're working with is really, really important. Knowing your numbers for sure, but then also really understanding your business model and how those offers really need to be structured that one, support your energy and also what's your personality style. And so for you, moving from group programs with the launch model, launching can be very, very exhausting. And even if you have a lot of systems, which I think that you probably built to make that more convenient for you, right?
Sure did.
But really thinking that there's more than just that way of making money. And I think oftentimes when we go from group to one-on-one, that can actually be a little bit confronting because it feels like we're moving in the opposite direction of what we're told we're supposed to do to be more scalable. But there's always a way to work your business the way that feels good and true for you. And so inside Dream Money, when you're clear on your numbers, you can map out different what-if scenarios of how you want to reach that money, right? So some of it might be a combination of one-to-many programs, maybe one-to-one, maybe all one-to-one. But when you have all of those variables working together, you can really decide which levers or dials you want to spin or turn down in your business.
I want to see the platform. Can you share it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
of
let's jump in
course.
now. For my listeners who are listening on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, you can jump over to YouTube right now and watch what Megan is going to share. But we will also make sure that we do our best job to make it audio friendly as well when she starts presenting.
So what you're seeing now, if you're watching this, is you're seeing the first visual of our dashboard inside of Dream Money. And keep in mind, this is showing you what it looks like when you already have your Dream Money dashboard set up. And a couple of the things that I want to point out right away is Dream Money is literally there to make sure you're creating a business that can fund your financial dreams. Okay. And so the first tile that you see here is this dream progress, is our ability to really track how well you're allocating money towards specific financial dreams. And so for this business owner, they have a goal of paying down $45,000 in business debt. They also have a goal of funding an 8K dream vacation, and we kind of see where they are along that process. The other thing that you're going to notice is how much revenue they have secured and coming into their business for this month, how much has already been collected, how much is still on its way, and also a look ahead to how next month is looking. I think a lot of times when we're looking at the financial clarity we're looking for is like, where do we stand from a revenue perspective, right? And I want you to be able to get that clarity immediately just looking at this dashboard. The next tile over is, instead of a monthly view, this is now your annual view of how is revenue looking for the year. Now, one of the things that most entrepreneurs are missing is that these numbers, they don't mean anything, right? They're just numbers. So how do we give context to if these numbers are giving us good information or bad information? And what I mean by that is that if you need to be earning, I don't know, 15K a month, seeing that you have almost 24,000 secured is great. But if you need to be at 50K months, you know that you're like half shy, right? And so one of the first things that we do is we help all of our community members set what I call your good, better, and best revenue goals. And these act as your financial context of how much does your business need to be making in order to make sure all of your key financial needs are funded. That's what your good goal is, because when you get there, you're literally good, you're covered. But your better and your best goals are there to help you fund your dreams. And so now that we know what those goals are, we know what meaning to attribute to these numbers here, right? From this place, we can also see that we have a secured revenue chart here, which is basically tracking all of your payment plans, all of your secured revenue to date. And the thing that I'm really excited about, which I think, Michelle, you will geek out with me on, is this sales opportunity board. And so because we are able to track your payment plans, we know when certain things are going to be set to expire. And one of the easiest ways to make more money in your business is to be able to continue supporting the people who have already bought from you. And so inside Dream Money, you can set parameters. So if you want to see people who are expiring in 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, whatever that might look like, I usually recommend 30. Their name will populate here for you, so you know to follow up with them. This is one of those ways we can just continue supporting those people and increase revenue in our business. So this is just our dashboard feature that really becomes activated once you connect all of your payment platforms, which is where your connected accounts live. Here, when we are pulling in all of your offers that are coming through Stripe, for instance, you'll set parameters here for how you want to see those in Dream Money. You'll be able to set your follow-up opportunities here for each of those offer styles. And you'll also have a list of your client accounts, so you can really keep up with where this client is in their expected payment. We're also tracking their lifetime value for you here, which is an important metric to keep on top of, especially so you can start mapping similar clients, right, who are like high lifetime value for you. But I think one of the things that I get really excited about is this vision section, where we are walking you through this process of getting clear on the financial needs that you have, the financial dreams that you want to fund. And then we take all of that financial data and we turn those into good, better, and best goals. And when we have these goals activated, which I'll have to kind of put some fake numbers in here for that to happen, we're not only looking at the revenue goal that you need to be pursuing, but we're also educating on margins as well. So you understand when you might be overspending on your team for instance, or in underpaying yourself, because your margins are what impact the way that your money feels. And so if money is too tight, that's usually an indication that your margins are a little out of whack. And so we really help educate all of our entrepreneurs on those as well.
I love this. You know what this reminds me of? So I do a vision board every single year, and I don't know if you do them or not. But anyway, my vision board I do in Canva, and it's very, very specific of what I want. And I have good, better, and best scenarios tied into that financially. And so I'm a carrot chaser. So if I see the carrot and the carrot is within reach, I'm going for the carrot every day. So part of why, just a small part of why I'm obsessed with the Stream Money platform is that you are 100% focused on your good, better, best and what that's going to do for you. One of my big goals, which is my best goal, is if you can see here, up in the corner, there's 2 horses and a trailer over here. And I just found that picture and I thought it was really cute. I didn't know what kind of horses I wanted, but they're red. Okay. So they're red horses. They're little gingers. And as of today, I am the owner of 2 horses.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations.
Thank you. So, which I'm so excited. And the irony of it is I didn't know what color. I was open to the color of horse that I wanted, but I stare at my vision board every day and there's 2 reds sitting there right now staring at me. And I think there's something to be said. Had I put Duns in there or something, maybe I would have gotten Duns. What you're looking at reflects back at you. And I love that that mirror impact that your platform will provide. And so that was one thing that I absolutely loved. And the second thing is it's so simple. You didn't make it complicated, which is appreciated because money can get really complicated. So I'm curious, what went through your head when you were building this platform? Did you build it for yourself in a lot of ways, being I wish these were the things I could see?
Well, I definitely built the methodology for myself, for sure. Because I think that back then I needed a way to interact with my money that felt manageable. And that also made sense to me because I wasn't a money person. And I think many entrepreneurs aren't money people. We don't come from a finance background. We're not accountants. We're not CPAs. And so being able to understand the numbers that are important to us as solo CEOs, I think is really incredibly important. And so when I was building all of this, it's how does this make sense in my mind? What are the numbers that I need to know? What do margins even look like? And what does healthy margins look like for me, right? And so when we started to build the platform, we've had thousands of people go through Dream Money because it started in spreadsheets, okay? And so we have had so many data points already exist. And so I kind of knew what I wanted the platform to look like. And so when it came time to build it, I think that was the easiest part, is just translating what already works into something that's even more intuitive and more beautiful to look at.
Yes. I do find a lot of joy in the beauty of your product. So anybody who didn't see the demo, I encourage you to go and look on YouTube because it is peaceful. It's calming to the nervous system. The colors used, the font, the way the tiles are really clean. I think there is a lot to do with that. Now, I'm used to reading P&Ls. So in my entrepreneurial journey, when you go down the path of owning revenue for large scaling companies, there's no more room to not understand this stuff. So I doubled down and really got obsessed with it pretty early on so that I can read P&Ls, so I can have sophisticated conversations with CFOs, so I can sit in the same room as the CFO, the CEO, and CRO together and make really important big decisions. However, that's at massive scale, right? And so what I love what you have right now, it's a simple solution that I'm not aware of that's out there in another format for the solopreneur or the small business owner to really connect with their money. And that's what I can feel through this conversation is it's not just a platform, it's connecting with your money in a really healthy, powerful way.
Yes. I would say Dream Money is really there to close the gap for people to make smart, sound financial decisions that impact their growth at the very core of that. And in order to do that, you have to be financially informed, but you don't need a finance degree in order to do that. And I think oftentimes when we're looking at a P&L as a business owner, the P&L misses a lot of strategic information for us. And also, I can't tell you the number of people who've come in. It's well, my P&L says that I'm profitable, but I don't feel profitable. Dream money is helping you to understand like what needs to shift for money to actually feel spacious and supportive and abundant for you. That is beyond what a P&L can provide, because a P&L is going to say, here's your profit, here's your loss. You're either profitable or you're not. And some people are like, but where is that money in my bank account? Because we set up all kinds of cash flow management systems so you can see your money clearly. That's like really the biggest battle.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about something that may be a little taboo, but I think you're going to love it.
Do it.
So we're going for it. You know what drives me banana cakes in the online business world?
Tell me.
Invest in yourself. You'll make it back. There'll be a 3x ROI. If you don't spend money, you don't make money. Like the echo chamber of just bleed. It doesn't even matter. Just bleed. Put it on a credit card. Don't look at your numbers. Close your eyes. You'll be fine. Like that predatory selling and marketing has driven me absolutely insane since I started in this industry. And I've personally never done it in my business, nor do I teach other business owners to use those types of tactics, but it's really common. And I would assume if you have a lot of coaches, consultants, and service providers on your platform, this gives them the authoritative power to push back and be like, actually, no, this is not in alignment with my goals. It's not something that's in budget. And case closed, I'm not making this investment right now. I need to do this or that first.
So this is such a great conversation. So the first thing is when you are entering in all your numbers into Dream Money, I'm going to ask you specifically how much you're planning on reinvesting back into your business this year. The reason for this is that most of the time, we're not ever having that conversation with ourselves. And we're just, when something comes across our path, we're like, let's get that, let's get that, let's get that, right? And before you know it, you've invested all of this money when you're not even clear if one, that money is solving the right problem that you have in your business. And two, if that's a reasonable amount based on where you are revenue-wise, okay? And I'm a big believer, like you do have to spend money to make money, but if you're over-investing over and over and over again to get to a place where then you're going to pay yourself more, I can guarantee you're going to continue to move that bar on yourself over and over and over again, wondering why your business always gets more money, but you don't get more money. And so the second part of that conversation, I just led a workshop a couple of weeks ago called Understanding Your Financial Seasons. And there's 3 seasons that I teach. The first is scaling season, where you do anticipate spending a lot in the business in order to create growth because growth is expensive. That is the season where you do not expect to end of the year with high profit or higher personal pay, which is hilarious to me because we're taught scaling means you're going to have more profit and more personal pay. No, that does not happen in that season. The second season is your fortifying season. That is actually when you're pulling more money out of the business and into yourself. You're really highly focused on higher profit margins. That is the season where you are going to expect an increase in personal pay, but that's because you're pulling back on investing in the business. You're starting to create more optimization and efficiency. The third season, which is the least common, is maintenance season. And that's the only season that we go through where we're not actually focused on increasing revenue. We're focused on maintaining revenue, but making it easier, faster, and more efficient. In that season, we also will likely see higher profits and higher personal pay. So we are in this epidemic of invest in order to, and we're just stuck in that season over and over again. And that's what's leading to burnout. And it also leads to some debt issues, some cash flow issues, right, that are never getting balanced out.
Yes. And can we talk about, you mentioned it a little bit in the beginning, which I think is so important because I'm obsessed with high performance. And if anyone listening knows that I've had my burnout seasons, like one burnout put me on the couch for a month because I just could not recover. And anyone who knows me well enough, I get up at 5 a.m., I work out, I don't nap, I never rest. Like my personality is very go-go. So like my husband was like, kind of like tapping me in the middle of the day, like, are you alive? Are you what okay? Is happening? Right? And I'm like, I'm burned out. You don't understand, blah, blah, blah. Right. And so because I've been through those seasons, when I moved to Park City 2 years ago, I say that I moved to the mountains and I solved my burnout. And I'm obsessed with the concept of this, of regulating your nervous system and putting yourself first in a lot of ways in order to then grow your business or to sell more if you're a seller, or to operate better. There's a high performance model that has to start with a few things to prevent the burnout. And understanding your money and feeling comfortable with your money and knowing where it goes and exactly everything you've said is such a core piece of high performance and joy and longevity and all of this. So I'm curious, have you had that season of where maybe you weren't on the couch for a month, but like, what did it take for you as an entrepreneur to be like, oh, never doing this again? Holy moly, I think we've all been through it.
I think they're just like, I wouldn't call them financial mistakes. I call them financial lessons that were hard to learn. And it was following conventional advice that wasn't the right advice. And some examples of this would be that once you're over a certain revenue threshold, you need to hire a team, you need to hire employees, you need to get yourself out of your business as fast as possible. And so I did that, and I ended up with this super expensive team with the same amount of like personal pay. And I was like, this is backwards. This is not right. And I had to go through that lesson to realize, oh no, that's not actually good advice. And you need to be doing something different. And so I think, 2019 was definitely a year of burnout because going through a 6-month deployment with 2 under 2, and then we moved on top. There was a lot that happened. I felt spiritually depleted, depleted in every single way, which wasn't as much business as it was just life, and those are hard seasons. And I think that's where you really understand the importance of flexible business models of like, if you don't have a lot to give, you're going to have a business model that can do a lot with less. But yeah, the financial lessons are always hard. But I think that's why I'm so excited about the community we're building. So we get to pass those financial lessons forward.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And so your Dream Money platform also has a community, correct? So that people can talk with each other, bounce ideas off of each other, but also be accountable to the same growth model, which I think is really important. Because when you put a bunch of people in a room that all don't have the same beliefs, standards, goals, or way of getting there, it gets really confusing to know who to listen to and how to be supported. So tell us a little bit about the community and who's in it and, how it's helping everyone using Dream Money, get better results.
Yeah, our community is really full of a lot of service providers. We have a couple of people who have some digital products and even like brick and mortar products as well, but I would say service providers mostly. And so coaches, strategists, creatives, finance professionals, people who have just a really strong value set, because that's me, that's how I operate in the world. And so I think most of our community is there to make more money, but also do really good things with it. And beyond the platform, we have 2 calls. One I just added. One, we have a strategy session every single month. So that's literally me being an open book. I've been a scaling strategist for the past decade of really helping people go to the high multi-6s and low 7 range in a very sustainable way. So that's everyone's opportunity to come and get feedback and free coaching basically on their business model, and even just borrowing my brain to help them think through different scenarios. Because my goal with Dream Money is not for you to come in and be like, Megan knows all the things. It's for you to actually feel empowered to make strong strategic decisions for your own business based on your capacity and your values and your stage of business growth. The other call that we have is what I call a decision call. And we have 3 different types of decisions that we make as a community. We have our annual decision cycle. That's when we're choosing which financial season we're moving into, what financial trade-offs we're willing to make in order to get there. The second is our monthly decision cycle, and that's when we're meeting as a community to do allocations. So basically, all the money has come into our business. Where are we intentionally sending that money in order to create more stability and growth? So we do all of that together and as a community. And then we also have a quarterly decision cycle, which we do every 4 months, when we're looking at 4 months of monthly data and asking ourselves, how well is our strategy working? Do we need to hire more support? Do we need to take another program or get more education? Because coming back to that investing conversation that we were having earlier, I want to slow down those quick decisions so they feel more strategic and intentional. And so if, let's say, on a quarterly decision cycle, you decide, I need to hire this employee, Now you're not making that rash decision. When that right person crosses your path, you're like, I've already decided that I'm going to hire them, or I've already decided that I need to invest in this mastermind, or whatever that might be. So if we can make decisions preemptively, it's going to make it a lot cleaner and faster with less second guessing on the back end.
I love that so much. It's the impulse decisions are usually the regret, right? It's like, okay, like they always say, trust your intuition. And for a lot of it, yeah, sometimes it's a heck yes, and you just know it and it's perfect, right? But a lot of decisions, I mean, anything from a monthly subscription to a team member, to a program, to technology, like I think it's really important to just take a beat and be like, is this what I want? Is this what I need? And having a community to support you in those decisions is so incredibly powerful. And back to the nervous system part, it keeps you feeling really good about your decisions and your nervous system being very like confident and calm. And like, you know, I try really hard not to scroll too much, like no doom scrolling, no like obsessing over the things and all the stuff. Because if you spend 2 hours just like going through social media one day, you'll have 11 new things you want to buy by the end of the day and 11 new ideas. And how is that good for us?
Well, I mean, it's not. First, I mean, it's capitalism. I mean, first and foremost. I think the thing is that most of us are not even really clear on what problems we need to be solving in our business. And if you want business growth, that really comes down to solving the right problems at the right time. And the reality is, like, we live in a beautiful marketplace. There's so many amazing people that we want to work with who are offering so many amazing things. And especially when marketing is super shiny, it's like we fall into that shiny object syndrome. Like, I want what that person has. It's like, right, but is that person selling something that you're struggling with? And sometimes we don't care. We just override that because we want to be in that space, or we get FOMO, right? But I think slowing that decision-making process down is just such a key piece of financial leadership and feeling really, really aligned with your financial decisions.
Yeah, you put that perfectly. I love the approach to it.
All right, rascals, let me ask you this. How much money have you wasted replacing shoes, sneakers, or even bags that could have lasted way longer if only you'd been taken better care of them? I know for me, running from meetings to kids' activities, life gets messy fast. And that's why I always have Jason Mark Quick Wipes on hand. Jason Mark is trusted care to help you get the most out of what you wear. They're not just about cleaning. They're about protecting what you love while protecting the planet. Their wipes are now 100% plant-based and plastic-free, made from renewable lyocell fibers. They're individually wrapped so you can toss them in your bag, your car, or like me, your kids' backpacks. And it's not just convenience. Jason Mark is part of the worldwide B Corp movement, meeting the highest standards for social and environmental impact. They're EPA Safer Choice certified, so you know the formulas are safe for your family. And their products are USDA, bio-based, and certified biodegradable. That means no harmful junk like PFAS or VOCs. Just high-performance care that keeps your stuff looking fresh while doing right by the planet. Personally, as a busy mom and entrepreneur, Quick Wipes are my favorite. They've saved my sneakers from coffee spills, playground dust, you name it. One wipe and I'm ready to walk into my next meeting looking sharp. So here's the deal. Go to jasonmark.com and use promo code Revenue Rascals at checkout for 25% off your order. One time per customer. Again, that's jasonmark.com, code Revenue Rascals. And remember, this podcast is free thanks to sponsors like Jason Mark. I'm ungating sales strategies people pay me 6 figures for. So go support them, grab your Quick Wipes or your favorite product, and keep your kicks looking fresh.
Okay, so one thing I want to talk about right now. I want to know how you secured, I believe it's $150,000 in grant to scale and grow Dream Money. That's a big grant. I don't know if it's a combination of grants or one grant, but can you tell us your story of how you were able to secure that?
Totally. So this was probably back in it must have been in early 2024 when I first started to finally start pursuing building Dream Money, which y'all, I'm like a non-finance tech person who is now building a software company. I know nothing about building software. And so I knew that I was going to have to find people who did know how to build software. And so I was really fortunate to be connected with a company named Cora, who are woman-owned and woman-led team. And I knew the moment that I connected with them, we had shared values, and they were the ones that I wanted to help me build Dream Money. And so I got a bid for the software, which was $300,000. And I was like, okay, so this is going to be some money that I didn't have sitting around, right? And most of people don't have $300,000 sitting around. And so I started to reach out to my network of like, how am I going to do this? Am I going to self-fund it? And just started reaching out to my community. And I happened to be at a networking event where a investment firm was speaking. This is my first time even hearing about, venture capital. I had no idea what this was. And I went up and I introduced myself to this woman who their whole mission was investing in female founders. And so I went up and I was like, I'm Megan Hale, I'm the founder of Dream Money. And I told her what I was building. And she was like, let's meet for coffee. And so we did. And I remember I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what if they offer me money? Which looking back now, you're like, no, there's going to be so many meetings before you even get to that point. But I went to that coffee and she said, have you heard about this grant? Because I really think that you have a good shot at it. And I think you should pursue that before we have another conversation, which is so generous when you think about it, because they could have, asked for equity in my company and I wouldn't have even known of this grant. But I went home, I researched it. It's a $150,000 grant. It's the most competitive grant in the state of Nebraska. And I'm never one to back down from a challenge. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And part of going for it is I had to build out this very thorough business plan, which I YouTubed how to do, by the way, because they were asking for all of these things. Like I've built revenue plans all day, every day, but a revenue plan and a business plan are very different. Like doing a SWOT analysis, doing my TAM, SAM, and SOM, like all of these things, I had no idea what they were. And that was when I really started to realize how big of a company that I was building, because I thought, maybe this would be a $5 million company. And then when I started doing the projections with my TAM, SAM, and SOM, I was like, oh no, honey, you're at like 5 million in year one. And you're like at 100 million if you're only supporting 2% of the people who need you. That was like a mind bending moment, but
huge moment.
Huge.
Like that must have been actually like pretty exciting. You're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to hang out over here. And you're like, whoa, never mind the opportunity.
I did the math 5 times to like make sure. Because I was like, I've never dealt with this number of zeros, truly. And I really will never forget that moment when I was like finally clear. No, there are no mathematical mistakes. This is truly what you're sitting on. And it was almost like I could hear Dream Money say, this is how big I can be if you'll step into this with me. So it's been a journey in partnership with this dream ever since, but submitted the business plan. I asked for $134,000 to build out our first phase. I got approved for $75,000 that first time, which I was kind of upset about, honestly. But then I realized that most female founders usually don't even get half of what they asked for, and we had already done that. And so I kind of took that as a relationship builder. I'm like, okay, this fund wants to see what I can do with this money. And so I took that $75K, I drew it down. We developed our first iteration of software. We launched it in March of 2025. I went back to the grant again and I said, here's what we've built so far. I would like the additional $75,000 to keep building. And so we won that grant again. So we've won it twice. And I'm in the process of drawing down that second round of grant dollars like right now. But it's been amazing to have a state department of economic development believe in what you're creating, to believe that it's innovative enough that it needs to be in the world. To be backed at that level has been really cool. And like we would not be here where we are right now had we not had those grant dollars.
That is such a powerful story. I am so pumped, for lack of a better professional word, that you were able to get that grant, because building software is expensive if you do it right. And, if you don't have either you're self-funded, you have a loan or a grant, or you have an investor or something, like you can't go at the speed that you need to. And, like when you're selling a service, if I'm going to launch a program or something, I can pre-sell it. And collect a lot of money because I'm going to deliver it while I am delivering it, right? But when you're dealing with a software, like, yes, you could do certain manipulations on it for like, you can be the founding members. It's going to launch of la, la, la. And maybe you did do that, but there is less of that available. So to have the money ready to go to get people into an MVP product is so huge. So congratulations, Megan. That is such a powerful story. And anybody listening right now, go watch the YouTube video of how she made her business plan. What's your YouTube channel called? I'm assuming Dream Money.
I don't even have a YouTube channel.
Oh, you just made a YouTube video. Oh my God, I love it. All right. So can you make sure to send me the link so we'll add it to the show notes so that people can watch the YouTube video to see how you built this? I think that'll be super powerful. Okay. So what would you, if you were to talk to somebody who is a few steps behind you right now that had ambitions of also launching a tech company when you're not a techie person, what would you say to them right now to give them the encouragement that they can also do it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say things have changed so dramatically even since when I started because of AI. Like it's a completely different ballgame now with Claude Code. Like there's so many no-code platforms that can literally get an idea out, testing it, getting user feedback, all of those things. So I would really recommend that you get on, like I do a lot of coding in Lovable, which is a no-code platform. And so even just giving your idea a space to kind of take material form, I think is really, really helpful. Because most people who are non-technical founders, you know nothing about building software, but you have everything when it comes to IP. And your intellectual property is really the foundation of everything that you're building anyway. And so even to spend some time brainstorming on how you want this to show up, how you want certain features to function, and just start playing around. I think oftentimes we don't even give ourselves the opportunity, like, I have no idea how to do this. Well, figure it out, right? Like YouTube it. You can literally YouTube a business idea or YouTube how to use Lovable, but they're really, really easy. And I think once you can find something that you have some confidence in, find a tech team that can really build it out for you. And I think working with a dev shop is really helpful, especially the dev shop I use, because I didn't just get a team who could code and build something, but I was really watching how they led team stand-up meetings. I was watching how they were leading their tech team. And as a non-technical founder, even having some level of mentorship that I felt confident stepping into that role was really, really helpful. Because that's the thing, like when you become a founder, this is not the same thing as being a small business owner at all. And so really starting to build out your skill set there and your those are very, very important areas for you to spend some time in beyond just product. And I think that's the other thing is like, I feel like I'm wearing the chief product officer hat. I'm wearing all the hats right now, but I also now have my own tech team and I'm starting to delegate to them. And it's just, awesome how business can evolve if you can trust yourself to take the next step.
All right. So I have a question. What do you do when you get scared in business? We all get scared. We all get that like pit in your stomach and it's fear, it's scare, you're scared, you're nervous. Like your head says go, your stomach says no. What are ways that you've managed that? Because you've done quite a big thing.
I feel like there's just, and I can't really explain this because it feels absurd to me to even say this. I think the bigger I've allowed myself to go, and maybe it's like delusion, like there's some level of delusion that's like catching up with this sense of confidence. But I honestly feel like I would not have been given this vision if I did not already have everything in me or around me to help me bring it to life. And so when I hit a hard season, like we're struggling with revenue or we're struggling with whatever we're struggling with, it's like, I know that I'm so resourceful. I have overcome so many things. And so it's just reminding myself of all the past evidence that even though I haven't figured out this particular problem, I figured out 9 million already before, right? And so it's just a matter of time. And I just try and keep myself in that very narrow frame of mind as much as possible. And when I get knocked out of it, it's like, I don't have the luxury of listening to that, honestly. Do you know what I mean? Profound. Like there's so many people that need this software and there's so many people that need financial clarity and there's so many entrepreneurs that need to be making financial decisions that they trust. I don't have time or energy or luxury to listen to that naysayer, even when it's in my own mind.
Oh, I love that so much. I do a similar thing where if I feel scared to do something or not sure, I'm like, well, Michelle, is there anything you haven't figured out at this point? Like, just remind yourself that. Like, is it always perfect and clean and not messy? No, but I always come up on the upside. So life experience, helps support you in those scary moments is what I'm hearing. And that's how I've always leaned back on myself too.
Yeah. And there's too many people that believe, at least in my world, there's too many people that believe in me, truly. And I think sometimes it's like, there's this personality assessment. I took it like forever ago, and it's called the Fascination Assessment. And it's all around how the world sees you. And I think that there is something beautiful around seeing yourself the way that the world sees you. And what I mean by that is every single one of us has somebody in our world who just thinks that we are like the coolest, smartest, can figure it out all the time person, right? So see yourself the way that that person sees you. And if you can do that, honestly, like you got half of it won already.
Oh my God, I love that. I think I need to go find that assessment. That sounds like fun, actually. I'm curious with the results if it comes back the way that I think it would. Now I want to know.
It's a really cool assessment. It tells you what you're really good at. And for me, I rank really high on prestige. And so that means that I have very high standards for things. So when people want a recommendation, they trust my recommendation because they know I have very, very high standards. And so that goes for restaurants, that goes for bourbon tours. Right?
By the way, everyone, I want to go to Kentucky and do a bourbon tour. And Megan lives in Kentucky. And I'm like, where should I go?
I love it. But that goes for like people I hire, people I trust. And so when you know your strengths, right, you can even think about how that applies to business, because people who are in a referral network with me tend to do really well because I attract really great people and then I can refer really great people. So that's a really cool thing.
I love that so much. All right. So one of my favorite questions, actually, it is my favorite question. What is the most rascal thing you have ever done in business, Megan?
Honestly, it's believing that this $100 million dream is even possible, and not just possible, but probable. That's the biggest shift, moving from possibility to probability. And I think that feels a little rebellious, honestly. I've just believed like the audacity, right? The audacity of a non-technical founder who has no financial background except for everything that she's learned on her own, mentoring thousands of clients, can build this. Feels pretty rascally to me.
I would double tap on that. I'm going to go with yes, 100%. Okay, well, Megan has graciously given all you rascals 50% off your first month of Dream Money, and we'll make sure to link that in the show notes. But Megan, is there anything else that my audience needs to know right now about Dream Money or yourself before we close out?
I'm going to assume that for your audience, they are very focused on sales and focused on increasing revenue. And I am all here for that. I think where Dream Money is going to add an extra layer is really having the money that you're generating feel the way that you want it to feel. So if you want smoother cash flow, if you want healthier profits, if you want higher income, Dream Money is going to provide all the financial clarity you need to make that translation.
Absolutely love it. Megan, I am cheering for you. I cannot wait to celebrate $100 million for you. I know it will happen just like you do. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course. Thank you.
Independence isn't just about where you go. It's about how well you live when you get there. That's why I am genuinely excited about Indie Stove, because it completely changes what outdoor and off-grid cooking looks like. Indie Stove is an ultra-portable, collapsible stove that fits basically anywhere, but performs like a real kitchen tool. It heats up in minutes, holds up in wind, rain, and rugged terrain, and works with multiple fuel sources, propane, butane, or wood pellets. So you're never limited by where you are and what's available. But here's where it gets fun. This isn't just about boiling water. With Indie Stove's modular accessories, you can actually
cook. The workspace stack gives you sturdy side sleeves so your cookware, ingredients, and tools are right there when you need them most. No balancing acts, no chaos. The skewer stack lets you grill kebabs, vegetables, or skewered meals evenly with non-sag skewers designed for real heat control. And yes, people are baking chocolate chip cookies off the grid. Fresh cookies in the middle of nowhere. That is not survival, that's luxury. Indie Stove is built for people who want freedom without giving up quality. Real meals, real control, real independence. Whether you're camping, overlanding, prepping for emergencies, or just choosing a life that isn't tied to outlets and crowded kitchens. And because you're a Revenue Rascals listener, you get something extra. Use code Revenue Rascals at checkout and you'll receive a free workspace stack with your purchase of a stove, valued at $120. That's Revenue Rascals at indiestove.com. Because independence should taste incredible.
Thanks for listening to Revenue Rascals, where we turn bold ideas into predictable revenue and prove that breaking the rules can still build empires. If you love what you heard, do me a favor. Tap the links in the show notes to support our sponsors. They're the ones keeping this show free so I can keep ungating the six-figure strategies that help you scale faster, lead smarter, and take more freedom home with you. And hey, if you think you'd make an incredible guest or know someone who's built something worth studying, email me at hello@michelleterpstra.com. And until next time, stay sharp, stay bold, and stay just a little bit rascal.